Arakchi made several direct statements regarding Tehran's position on nuclear talks, ranging from ongoing message exchanges with Washington to renewed cooperation with the IAEA. Does this signal, do you think, that Iran is now weighing diplomacy over confrontation?
Good afternoon. The Iranian statement following say that the parallelism of statements and diplomacy of confrontation, escalation adopted by the highest commander with other leaders and defense minister and other figures with escalative tendencies on the solid current. The other parallel is led by Arakchi, the foreign minister, which is an extension of the reform minister and Rawan Kharanji and other figures that trying to give room for diplomacy and political paths. Maybe both of the paths are complementary as long as they express the in agreement inside Iran, but its role dismantling, role distribution. And I see that the system with using threatening tone wants to escalating their targets and reducing compromise, but they know that escalating in advancement with expected military operations, especially toward Israel, or using stubbornness with the US will cause losses to Iranian system regime, and this is not the best scenario within the economic situation, and also with number of sanctions revivement and also military losses Tehran experienced with a 12-day war, and also with the capacity of having long-standing confrontations. So,
okay, Dr. Fadi, Arakchi recently confirmed that Tehran is still communicating with Washington and expressed willingness to return to negotiations, but only under specific conditions. Does this suggest that the ball is now in the U.S. court to either pursue renewed nuclear talks or consider further action against Iran's nuclear facilities?
Yes, good morning, and thank you very much for having me. In my opinion, the ball is in both courts, the United States and Iran. From the United States perspective, at least for now, I can say that these messages from Iran about willingness to engage in diplomacy are very much read as strategic maneuver, actually. So what we can identify about the situation, the current situation at this time, is that there is much lack of confidence between the two sides. So the Iranians obviously don't trust the Americans. The Americans obviously don't trust the Iranians, and they think, as I mentioned, that they are trying to send messages of diplomacy to evade and avoid the sanctions, which are, as we know, from the snapback mechanism, are going to automatically be imposed in 30 days unless there is very clear engagement from Iran in collaboration with the IAEA. In other words, we can say that at this time, in my opinion, there are measures required from both sides. The Iranians have to be very flexible in engaging in diplomacy. The United States now, of course, after the 12-day war, we should think about new calibrated steps for the United States to engage with all these changes that happened after the war. So both parties are required to take measurable steps, and I believe that it's in both parties' court and not only the United States.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Hani, Arakchi confirmed ongoing message exchanges with the U.S. via intermediaries. What is Iran hoping to achieve through this back-channel diplomacy, do you think, in your opinion?
Yes, Iran suffered during the last period of isolation. US avoiding or neglect confirmed that Washington didn't respond for about 15 Iranian message to reopen channels communication. That means that US wants to impose pressure through neglect policy, lifting pressure, and with other tools, not only on by Washington but also using Troika state to use snapback, using the IAEA and also different movements in the international community, with also imposing new sanctions from 3 weeks to 1 month. It's the first of its kind and volume since 2018. All these mechanisms trying to restricting Iran significantly within this atmosphere. I think they need Arakci wants to open a channel to diplomacy and avoiding snapback and sanctions, and also trying to open channels of communication and postponing complications scenarios. And also there is an assumption of interference of Minister Badr Abdel Ati that may pave the way of Egypt's role in this matter. Also, therefore, Iranian side wants to find safe sides and save themselves on the political side and the military side in order to avoid confrontations and avoid any Donald Trump's measures, and also so therefore they are trying to avoid risks.